Year 1972. In Hollywood, an entire auditorium rises to its feet. An applause that doesn't stop for minutes. And onto the stage walks a man, older now, his steps slower, but his eyes still carrying the same spark. Charlie Chaplin. Just imagine it. Once he was a child shivering on the poorest streets of London. Now, in front of the biggest stars on earth, it's as if history itself is applauding him. But behind that applause lies a story no one could easily guess. Charlie was born on April 16, 1889, in London, in a poor district of Walworth. His mother, Hannah, known by her stage name Lily Harley, was a singer and actress. His father, Charles Chaplin Sr., also sang on stage, but he loved the harsh side of life a little too much. There was no money at home, but there was something else. The dream of stage lights. Charlie's closest companion was his brother Sidney. Sidney was older. He understood the streets, the people, the danger. Charlie, meanwhile, was like a tiny director watching the world, sometimes hungry, sometimes exhausted, but always alert. Because the comedy that would one day make millions laugh actually began as a survival reflex. One day his mother's voice failed on stage, and from that moment, Hannah's life slowly began to unravel. Her mind grew tired. She fell ill. And for the children, life suddenly stopped being childhood. In Chaplin's story, poverty isn't just one chapter. It's like background music that never stops playing. For a while, they stayed with their father, but he was battling alcohol, and he died far too early. Charlie learned the truth at a young age. Life can catch you unprepared. And then came the hardest period. The workhouses, cold, discipline, crowds, loneliness, and the question that hurts to even ask: how does a child learn to laugh in a place like that? Maybe that's exactly why he learned. Because Chaplin's comedy isn't the comedy of funny events, it's resistance against the absurdity of life. Then the door to the stage cracked open. Sidney joined theater troupes, and Charlie followed. Even as a child, Chaplin began performing in music halls and small shows. Think about it. In his own life, there were things he couldn't control. But on stage, one step, one look, one fall, he could control it all. That's where the seed of the Tramp was planted. While the world tries to crush me, I can defeat it by laughing. In the early 1900s, one of England's most famous touring acts was Fred Karno's troupe. When Chaplin joined, his talent was recognized immediately, because he wasn't just telling jokes, he was telling stories with his body. And one day, the tour road led to America. Now picture this: America at the time, an entertainment industry exploding, cinema just taking off, everything growing fast. Chaplin arrived without a fortune in his pocket, but he carried something priceless: an observing eye. The way people walked, their anger, their shame, their arrogance, he collected it all. In 1913, Mack Sennett brought him into Keystone Studios, and Chaplin stepped in front of the camera. At first, it was trial and error, but then a character was born. Baggy pants, oversized shoes, a bowler hat, a thin cane, and that legendary walk, a language the whole world could understand. Silent, but crystal clear. The Tramp wasn't just a clown. He was poor, but proud. He looked clumsy, but was incredibly sharp. He got beaten, then stood up, fixed his jacket, and kept walking. People laughed at him, but they were also seeing themselves. And Chaplin became unbelievably famous. So fast that other companies began offering bigger and bigger paychecks. But here's where the real difference appeared. Chaplin didn't just want to be a star. He wanted to write, direct, edit. He wanted control over his films. And little by little, he built that control. He raised the quality. By the mid-1910s, the short films he made were like a blueprint, the mathematics of comedy. Let me ask you something. Can a person make you laugh and at the same time put a lump in your throat? Chaplin was one of the rare people who could. In 1921, The Kid arrived. Funny, but heartbreaking. Then The Gold Rush, then City Lights, and every film left the same feeling behind. I'm making you laugh, but I'm also grieving for you. Then technology changed. The silent era began to fade and many stars disappeared because the new world had sound, speed, a new language. So what about Chaplin? Chaplin resisted. He believed, if my character speaks, the magic will break. And he made a masterpiece like City Lights with the soul of silent cinema. That courage was pure Chaplin. Instead of following the wave, he bent the wave to his own shape. In 1936, modern times arrived. Factories, machines, unemployment. He told it through laughter, but the message was heavy. When humans become machines, even laughter becomes automatic. And then, 1940, The Great Dictator. With that film, Chaplin spoke directly against the darkness of the era, with comedy, but openly. And that turned him into more than an artist. He became someone who disturbed people in power, because some forces are afraid even of comedy. If someone starts thinking while laughing, that's considered dangerous. Years passed. Chaplin's private life, scandals, gossip, lawsuits, and a wave of smear campaigns grew stronger in America. And then came the famous breaking point. Chaplin left America. He settled in Switzerland. The camera was still there. But somewhere inside him, there was always that ache. The man who made the world laugh could one day be labeled unwanted. But here's the irony of life. In time, Switzerland, what looked like exile, became the place where Chaplin grew old as a legend. When he returned to America years later in 1972, that long-standing ovation wasn't for nothing. That applause wasn't just for an artist. It was for the childhood of cinema itself. In 1975, England knighted him, Sir Charlie Chaplin. A child once walking through London's poorest streets was now officially Sir. And on Christmas in 1977, at the age of 88, he passed away. But even here, the story couldn't end without a Chaplin-style twist. In 1978, his grave was robbed. Yes, you heard that right. His coffin was stolen for ransom. After weeks of searching, the police found it, reburied him, and reinforced the grave so it would never happen again. And you can't help thinking, Chaplin made the world laugh while he was alive. And even after he died, he still made the world say, wait, did that really happen? And when we watch Chaplin today, we realize something. The Tramp isn't just a funny man with a silly walk. He is elegance born from poverty, a kind of resistance that gets slapped by life and still straightens his hat. And maybe most importantly, he leaves us with this reminder. Sometimes, laughter is the most serious way to survive. So I'll leave you with this feeling. Charlie Chaplin's life tells us, sometimes what writes a person into history isn't applause, it's stubbornness. If this journey left a mark on you, write "continue" in the comments, and I'll bring the next one in the same tone. And don't forget to subscribe to Tarih, because on this channel, every video ends with the untold side of a legend.